Well, hello there and welcome. I'm Cindy Daychuck with Queen Bee Creations. Thanks for joining me. So what I want to do are some little ornaments for the tree, and in particular, wood slice ornaments. So I'm going to do 3 different variations, but they all start off the same way. We are going to take different Christmas papers. You could use napkins, you could do printouts from the internet, you can just simply paint them. It's up to you. You'll see where we're going and then you decide what you want your background to be. So I'm gonna do a variety of different backgrounds. And there are certain ones for certain crafts you'll see as I go, but the technique is all the same. I'm gonna take my decoupage medium. I'm using Mod Podge because I got a whack of it. You could use the decoupage medium of your choice. You could use any kind of top coat will work as well. You could take just that school white glue, dilute it down with water a little bit. You could use that, totally up to you. So the only thing that you want to do is, and I want glasses, let me take a smaller piece of paper, is you just need to decide which background you want for which craft. And okay, that one's for that one. And then just make sure that you do the, the right background for that. So the process is going to be the same. I am going to simply paint on my decoupage medium. And because I'm, in this case, using a fairly thick paper, because I have scrapbooking paper as opposed to a napkin, I'm going to make sure that I have a fairly thick coat of this on. If I was doing a napkin, because it's pretty translucent, it's pretty thin, right? You want to separate out your napkin, so you're just using the single ply. But the thinner your paper is, the less you need to have a lot of your medium. The thicker the paper, the more you're going to need to have a better coating of your glue, of your sticky stuff. And then I am simply going to, probably I should just cut this down to start. I am just going to stick this on. And I just turn mine over to be able to burnish it in. And then I'm going to put it off to the side to dry. So I'm just going to get all of them glued down, and then we can come back for the next step. One of the next steps for one of my projects is to paint out some castings. Now, I had done castings of this little deer head from an IOD mold. You can do this in clay. It doesn't have to be in the word I'm not acrylic, resin, out of resin. It doesn't have to be resin, but because this has such fine little antlers, it's easier in resin than with the clay because these get all distorted. But you may be doing any other kind of molded item, right? That's gonna fit onto your wood slice. So whatever it happens to be. Now, in this case, I'm doing 4 of these deer heads, and I'm using a gilding wax. This happens to be any Sloan. You could use any kind of rub and buff product. Any gilding wax would do, but so would metallic paint. Or just paint it white or paint it black or whatever color you want. So this one I'm doing copper. I'm doing 2 copper, and I have 2 done in gold. And I just want to get these done because I'm doing them in the wax. The wax needs time to be able to dry as well. So I figured while I'm waiting for glue to dry, I might as well be waiting for wax to dry. And I think this is it for the drying until it comes time to do some sealing. So I'm just getting this done ahead, and then we'll be able to carry on. Now that my wood slices have dried, what I want to do is remove the excess paper. And the fastest and easiest way to do that is just to take some sandpaper, sanding block. I'm just wrapping it around an old block and just go around the edge. And this will just kind of cut it all off nicely. It deals with, like, especially for the wood slices, you have a lot of those uneven edges. You'll be able to see exactly where you need to go. And it just all comes off. Once you have it detached, you can distress and smooth out those edges as much as you would like. And if there's any edges where it hasn't caught, like here, I've got a little bit of a lift, then I'm just going to take my glue and glue that down, right? Just kind of hold it down in place, be able to get that to adhere. And then I am going to take my Mod Podge and I am going to coat these and seal them entirely and let that dry before we carry on and add anything else to them. These are designed to go on here. But, I mean, we're gonna add some bows and decorations, but I think the background is a little bit plain. So the only thing, okay, let me just decide if I want him on here. Okay, I'm gonna do him on that one. So the only thing that I'm doing is I am taking a paint marker and I'm just drawing designs. So for some, I just drew little dots on there for a little bit more. Others, I drew, you know, just some swirls. And it's just to kind of add another pattern element on top of a pattern element, right? And it's just giving it a little bit more detail and a little bit more interest while still keeping it in the background. And, you know, for the swirls, I'm just doing them any which way. And then in any spots where it looks a little barren, I'm just adding some little dots in there because, you know, why not? So whether you're adding some dots, whether you're adding just some lines, you could do some cross hatching. You could just add a little bit of detail around what's already there. You could just leave it. I mean, the other thing is that you could just sand them like I did around the edges and distress them lightly. You could add some stenciling if you wanted over top of it too. You could do some aging powder and antique them a little bit if you want. So you've got lots of options, and certainly just leaving them as they are is one of them. To get cute little detailed bows like this, where your hands just aren't small enough to do that, I have a hack. I have an easy little trick. So I'm gonna take my ribbon, I'm gonna take a fork. The bigger the fork, the bigger the bow. And just cross it over in front and hold it with your finger. You're gonna wrap around that outside tine and then cross it in the middle space. So dividing those tines in half, wrap around the opposite side, cross in front again, and hold it. Now I usually you can take a piece of string, I take a piece of wire because it's just easier to manipulate. Put it through the middle, right? Cross it into the back, and I'm just going to twist it to hold it in place. Cut off my extra little length, and there's my little bow. And you can do this for any size bow. So the bigger the fork, so you could get a big serving fork if you want to make some bigger bows. You could take 2 chopsticks and use elastic to tie them together between a cork or something bigger to be able to make bigger bows. But it's a way to be able to make a bunch of very fast, very consistent bows. Now that we've got our backgrounds all decorated up, we just need to glue our deer heads onto our little wood disc. Now I'm just using some hot glue, but you can use any kind of contact cement, tacky glue of your choice, whatever you have. So, still needs to have the decorations, ribbons attached, but I like to do that all at the same time. So we're gonna get our other decorations caught up to that point. So for one of our other discs, what I want to do is I picked up this little bag of glass vials from the dollar store, of course, in the dollar store, of course. So what we're going to do is this. Now, ideally I wanted, you know, that snow that is just little teeny tiny styrofoam balls. If I could have found that, that would have been lovely, but I couldn't. So I could only find this snow that's just little pieces of, I don't know, like polyfill kind of thing. So we're just going to try, and it does go in. It just takes a lot of stuffing it together so that your stick, I'm just using a paintbrush to push it down in. But I'm just looking to put some snow into my little vial. There we go. Once it gets started, you get a little bit of momentum. So I just want to put that in the bottom of my vial. Now the other thing that I have are these small little bottle brush trees. So I'm gonna pull off, just twist off the little wood base. I save those, I don't know why, but I save them because I'm sure, in my head, I'm sure I'm gonna need them another time. And I just cut off a bit of that base, just so that I don't have so much of it sticking out. Now, this doesn't fit down through here as is. So all that we're gonna do is we're just gonna make it a little bit skinnier. We're just gonna go round and we're gonna cut off some of the bottom greenery. We're just gonna trim our tree a little. Just, it still looks tree-like, maybe a little off this side. So it still looks tree-like, it's still that shape, but we're gonna have an easier time pushing it and kind of twisting it down into our vial. And I just used my paintbrush to stick it down in and put the cork back on. So just a cute little tree in a bottle that we are going to hot glue in place. So just taking whatever side you deem to be the bad side, if it has a bad side. And we're just going to glue it. Now, I glue it toward the bottom of my slice because I'm still going to be adding some decoration at the top. The other option that you have, of course, is to take one of your trees. An alternative to the snow is to maybe add some sparkles. So I have some red. Maybe look at adding some green. Oh, and maybe a little more red on the top. We're kind of creating a bit of a stripe here. There we go. And now I can glue my Christmas tree on top. And that's going to secure all those sparkles in there. And then this you can glue on. We've got our other little elements glued on. They just need their final zhuzhing and finishing, but we still have these two little slices. So what I want to do is we're gonna do some little snowmen. And I have a little picture I drew. This is my template. That's the snowman. That's what I'm aiming for. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to start with doing the white, the body and then the round head, and then we have to wait for that to dry anyway. So I'm just using white acrylic paint. This is PBO, but you know, use whatever kind you have. I just got this from Michael's, probably, I think. So it's not a super high expensive one. It's not for doing, you know, artist grade acrylic paintings, because I just don't do that. I'm not even sure that I could do that. So there you go. So I'm painting just kind of a round circle on the body, and it doesn't have to be perfect because we're still doing other stuff. We're still going to be zhuzhing this up, right? We've got to add details onto him and all kinds of other things. So that's him. That's the body. So I'm going to do that to both of them and let it dry, and then I'll bring you in and probably overhead so that you can see some of the detail part. But it's not hard. For my little snowman, here's my little design. So I am just adding the details in using paint markers, Sharpies, whatever. It's just way easier for me than trying to get out tons of different paint colors and find little paint brushes. And really, you know what? I'm all for what makes my life easier. So I'm just going to draw his little carrot nose. And I'm just kind of experimenting with which paint marker does a better job. Okay, these are Tombow. These are Sharpies, obviously. And I'm just looking to add some details. You know, I want a little bit of a scarf here around his neck. And, you know, I could have just kind of drawn on, use my markers to have painted on the white. I just find that I get better coverage initially with the white over other colors with doing it with the acrylic and then doing the rest this way, especially when I have a heavily patterned background. So I'm just looking to put the color on first, and then I will add details. So meaning his scarf looks kind of weird. Let's give him a little pocket. So the scarf looks a little bit weird, but when we add the details, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. So now let me just kind of do his mouth. And where's a little, what color pink are you? You're pretty pink. Okay, well, we'll make him very rosy here. And then, you know what? Just play. So you can take some fine tip markers if you want to be able to add in, you know, some of the little details here. I think I have a brown. Wait, let me do his arms first. Here's maybe a brown. So it has little stick arms coming up. And you can, I've got him looking up. His head probably could be a little smaller. So I might have little eyes at the top, just kind of way up here. Because his head was a little bit big. So just draw him how you want, right? And then you can outline some of the details. And then these are ready to then decorate up, zhuzh up the top, put on our hanging string, etc., just the same as the other ornaments are. So I'll be back to show you what I did with these, but I'll then show you how I'm just going to finish them off. And then we're kind of done these. And I think I'm loving the snowmen. I may need to make more. To finish these off, we're really looking at wanting to attach something to hang them from, and a little bit of greenery, some berries, something that you have on hand. And here's where you just use up odds and ends. Now, I'm going to attach a ribbon to the top. You could use an eye hook. So a lot of people will screw an eye hook into the top and then attach a ribbon to that. I've done that in the past, but quite honestly, I find that the next year, odds are a lot of the wood slices have split from the eye hook. So all I'm doing is putting a dab of hot glue at the top and attaching my ribbon into it. And then I'm going to now attach my greenery over top of that. So you don't, and burning my finger. But so you don't even see that. And I just find that it just prevents the wood from splitting, and I just have the ornaments longer. And then adding some berries. This happens to be my golden deer, so I'm adding some gold berries, but you can see that it fills it in quite nicely. And I'm going to do the same for virtually all of them. I might switch out the greenery, switch out some of the berries. I mean, whatever I happen to have in little bits and pieces floating around on the top of my desk. So I'm gonna get these finished, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at each of the projects. Gotta tell you right now, those snowmen are really, really cute. I'm kind of loving them. So let me get some decoration on them, and then we'll take a look. 3 different little designs for wood slices. The first flew everywhere, were our little resin deer. Now these are perhaps the most involved because we have to make the resin cast, or you could do them out of clay. Just the antlers are a little bit picky done with the clay. A little easier to get that kind of detail when you're using the resin, but these are the most detailed. But again, that deer is just worth it more than anything else. So we have those ones. We have the little tree in a bottle ones. So we trimmed down the little dollar store tree, popped it into that little dollar store bottle, and then decorated that up. And I think those are super cute, kind of a different idea. The little twist that we did was this one, where we put the tree, we put sparkles on the inside and the tree on the outside. And I like that look too. So, you know, it just depends what you're into. Sparkles, snow. I like them both. I gotta say, probably I like this one better, but that's just me. And then we have, so again, these ones, you have to go and buy the extra items. If you just have wood slices and, you know, odds of little pieces of greenery and things like that, and some ribbon, some markers, make some little snowmen. These painted guys are really super cute, and I'm kind of digging them. I'm kind of loving them. You could do some obviously with, you know, the typical snowman with them facing you. I mean, however you want to do it. And then start experimenting with other little designs. But these little painted guys are awfully sweet as well. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your favorite is. I would love to hear that too. Definitely let me know what you think about the trees in the bottle one. I think that one's a little bit, I don't want to say weird, different, right? So I'm in the, is it cute? Is it weird? What was I thinking? You tell me. Love to hear from you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, take care.